Okay, we're going to talk about adding some positives and negatives when you're adding more than one integer. So I'm going to kind of jump around and go from place to place on this, but I want us to know how to do that. One way is to just kind of combine your like terms, meaning combine your negatives and combine your positives. So one strategy you can use is to use like a highlighter and highlight all of, for example, the negatives. So I have a -4 and a -1. So the -4 and -1 is -5, right? Then I have 20 plus 11, and even if you wanted to use another color highlighter, you could. Okay, for the positives, 20 and 11 would be 31. So now I have 31 minus 5, or you could say plus a -5. And what would 31 minus 5 be? That would be 26. Okay, let's look at number 2 on here. -8 plus 15 minus a -2. Remember when we said minus a -2 is really plus a +2. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. So if I'm looking at my negatives right here, I have a -8, and then the rest are positive. So 15 and 2. So 15 plus 2 is, so I have a -8 plus 17. So they have different signs, so I subtract, and I have more positives, so my answer is positive, and 17 minus 8 is 9. Okay, let's look at, I'm going to skip down real quick to this one right here, number 7. Let me get a little bit closer here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and automatically make this -5 plus a negative. Okay, remember, as long as when I change that subtraction to addition, I have to change the sign on this. I can't just make one mark, I should be making 2. So my negatives are -25, right? When I combine those, and then I have plus 16. So if I'm adding a positive and a negative, they're different signs, so I'm going to subtract them, and 25 minus 16 would be 9, but do I have more positives or negatives? I have more negatives, so my answer is going to be -9. Okay, I'm going to move over to this next one, 17 plus -7 minus 10 plus a -19. Okay, I can go ahead and say minus 10 is plus a negative. So if I look at all my negatives, I have -7, -10, and -19, right? So positives, I just have 17. So I have 17 plus -10 plus a -19 would be -29 plus a -7, right? -29. So plus a -7, that would be -36. Correct? Correct? Okay, so that's going to be 17 plus a -36. Okay. One way you could have looked at it, just real quick, is that 17, and then this right here is -17. So what's going to happen? These make 0 pairs. That 17 and -17, they make 0 pairs. So the only thing I'm left with is -19. So my answer is -19. But if I would have done 36 minus 17, I would have ended up getting that same thing, right? So I just wanted to point out that right there. Okay, I'm going to move around. I'm going to do this one right here. So when I have, this means the opposite of -9. So I'm going to change that to plus. And then -11, I'm going to turn into plus a negative. So I have a -11, and then I have a positive 9 and 18. And 9 plus 18 is 27. And I can say -11 or plus a -11. It's the same thing, right? Okay, So 27 minus 11 would be 16. Okay, and I'll do one more. I'm going to do this one right here. So 13 minus 7, I'll change that to plus a negative. And then minus a negative is going to turn into plus a positive. And then minus 12 will turn into plus a negative. So if I get all my negatives, I have negative 7 and negative 12. And my positives, I have 13 and 3. So 13 plus 3 is 16, plus a negative, negative 12 and negative 7 would make negative 19. So now I'm adding a positive and a negative. They're two different signs, so I'm actually going to subtract it to answer it, and I've got more negatives. So 19 minus 16 is 3, but it's going to be a negative 3. I hope that this cleared some things up and helped.